I am so tired of coming on this podcast every single week and telling you to stop playing T.Y. Hilton. Like, just stop it.
Mikey needs help.
Mikey needs help.
I was like, if you don't have Jeff Wilson in here, and if you don't run it on first down, I'm gonna strangle you through that TV.
You should know better than everyone else. That fool tears you up when you plays you.
Yeah, but he
Don't you want him on your team?
I have him at number 25.
Thank you. Fine. Todd's the reasonable one on this show.
I take issue with everything he said there.
Well,
I really do.
DeAndre Swift. He's gonna break them tackles, son.
That's bold. That's bold. That's putting your nuts on the table right there.
Hey, there's the first time for everything.
Waxing poetic over here with Todd Diamond.
Dude's old.
So what? He's not as old as Brady, and you're jerking him off before the show starts.
I have Sutton in my top 10. I have him at number 9. Yes.
You know what? I'm just canceling the league. I can't do this with you guys. What is up, MHA owners? So glad you're with us here, and we're just finishing up week 7. A lot of craziness this week, and we're excited to talk about it. Eric Lansing, Todd Diamond, Mike Renault. What's up, y'all? Go Braves, and go Braves. Am I right?
Yes, amen to that. Yes, those Astros can suck it.
Wow, what's up with the hating on the Astros? What did they ever do?
Oh, come on. We know what all the hate's about.
Yep.
But you're on our train, right, Miguel?
Yeah, come on, Mikey. Braves, go Braves, okay? Go Braves.
You know, I've always had a soft spot for Altuve.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Jackass.
Here we go. We were just Eric. Everything was going just great, and he had to bring up that cheating.
Well, I know what soft
Wiring
spot he's
mother-
talking about. It's the one right over his left, right under his left shoulder. That's where the buzzer would be. That's the soft spot. So when they were cheating, that's where it was, right there.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So go Braves. That's all I get.
At this moment, the Braves are up 6-1. What's that, Mikey?
I said you guys don't believe in a good redemption story.
Yeah. If they
There's
really
not a
want
lot
to
of redemption for that.
Yeah, if they want a redemption story, Mikey, they will give Aaron Judge his MVP deserved, and he will give the Yankees the World Series that they deserve. Okay, that's I'll love the Astros. I'll like the Astros again. But other than that, no, they're done. They're done, Mikey. They're done.
Speaking of done, maybe
Yeah.
Mikey will bust out his done category. We'll see if we get to that. We'll see if Mikey wants to do that later on in the show. So what's coming up on this show of the MHA podcast? Well, we'll recap the crazy matchups in the MHA from week 7. We'll talk about the best of the best performances, the worst of the worst, and a few surprises that may have helped a few owners come out on top this past weekend. But first, let's see what's going on with the news.
To me, the most amazing thing about the news is that whatever goes on in the world, it exactly fits the number of pages that they're using in the paper that day. Interesting contrast.
And possibly the top news story, of course, COVID-19. Devontae Adams placed on the reserve COVID-19 list, could miss Thursday night's game. The Packers wide receiver tested positive for the virus. If Adams is vaccinated, which it sounds like he is, then he would need 2 negative tests within 24 hours to be available to play in their game against undefeated Arizona. Quick turnaround for that squad. So possibly bad news for Adams owner Gonzo Cats, but possibly good news for Eaton W's, who has had more than his fair share of good luck this season. And speaking of Packers, COVID-19, and wide receivers, Alan Lazard, who was in close contact with Adams, was also placed on the reserve COVID-19 list, and it is reported that he will miss the next 5 games, and they're saying that probably because he hasn't been vaccinated, or he would also be in line for the 24-hour test. So watch out, Aaron Rodgers owners, and see what's going to happen with the rest of that wide receiving core. More bad news, this one for Todd Diamond, and his running backs just can't stay healthy, especially the ones he traded for. Philly running back Miles Sanders may miss some time after suffering an ankle injury during his game against the Raiders. So, Todd will be up on that news to see if he can get into the game this week. Speaking of backs, the NWA's Josh Jacobs left his game early on Sunday due to a chest injury. Although it seems like it's not that major, could be back, not this week because they're on the bye, but in 2 weeks. KC quarterback Patrick Mahomes left his game early after he was crushed in the head/neck area by the Titans defense. Mahomes passed concussion protocol and should be good to go against the Giants on Monday night. Thank goodness, because I need him because of the weapons that are on my squad. So that's the news. Anything that I missed, guys? Is that pretty much it? Did I miss any injuries or close calls or anything as such?
No, I think it's pretty much. I think that was pretty much it of the. Yeah, of injuries wise, that's a lot. That's a lot of scares on that list of injuries. But
Yeah, a lot of heavy hitters.
yeah,
No doubt about it. Let's get into the Week 7 matchup. So a lot here. Let me take a deep breath. In the matchup of the week, perhaps, and perhaps the game of the week as well, 4-2 Lemonheads taking on 3-3 Cooper's Cousins, and this one came down to the final play in the afternoon games, and both of us would be done after those afternoon games. It all started with Eric's amazing free agent pickup, Tua Tagovailoa, who went on and racked up 65 points in the morning game, but they didn't get much help. We mentioned the early departure of Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Darrell Williams didn't do a whole lot. And so we go into the afternoon games. I was feeling pretty good. DeAndre Swift picked up a quick 11 points on the very first drive. And I was like, all right, we're in control here. And went on a run. And then next thing you know, I see Dylan got 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns from Mike Evans and almost had a 4th. And was one of the highest performances from a wide receiver. And then how about Damian Harris for Cooper's Cousins, piled up 24 points. So we had big-time games in those departments. It came down, but it was still tied. It was a really close matchup. It came down to the final drive between DeAndre Swift and the Rams defense. Dylan has the Rams defense, myself with Swift. And on the very last drive of the game, Swift caught a pass to give the Lemonheads a 1-point lead. And on the very next play, Jared Goff sends another pass in the direction of Swift, but it goes over his head and into the arms of the Rams defender. That means a Rams interception that gave him 2 points, and I lose by 138 to 137. Sad, so sad, but kind of exciting as well. I'm just glad no one was here because there was a lot of cursing going on, but such is the life of fantasy football. Into the next matchup, the top team in the league continues to roll over the competition. Eaton W's bum rushing the Butterfingers with a week-high 147 points. Todd put up a respectable 130, but Eaton W's used another great week from Brady, a 17-point output by a 19-point output by Terry McLaurin, and perhaps the surprise of the week candidate and Ernest Johnson, who ran to the tune of 23 points for the Browns, who didn't have Hunt or Chubb. Todd had a chance to pick up Ernest Johnson during the waiver period, but opted to go Cleveland's defense instead. The Browns running back outscored the Browns defense 23-6. Doe of the week? We'll find out later. Butterfingers drops to 2-5. And Eaton W's wins again and stands alone at the top of the league standings at 6-1. From one of the best teams to one that is struggling mightily to really get it going, we saw Gonzo Cats improve to 4-3 after defeating Kilgore Trout, who can't find a win to save their lives. Pollen got 23 from Tampa Bay's defense. And Jonathan Taylor threw the monsoon, tore up the 49ers defense to 17 points. To help the Cats move over 500 this season, Aaron Rodgers had 56 points for Vaccarelli, but just 4 total points from his wide receiving core of Allen Robinson and Rondale Moore. In the rematch of last year's MHA championships, Lion Rip edges out the NWA by just 5 points. This one came down to the Sunday night game. Lion Rip held a 97-69 lead with Elijah Mitchell going for Aaron's squad, and G's squad still has Jimmy Garoppolo, a quarterback, and a wide receiver in Deebo Samuel. Samuel and Mitchell was a wash as both players had 16 points, so it came down to Garoppolo, but he had troubles with the rain and the Colts defense and only tallied 23 points, allowing Lion Rip to make it 2 straight wins to improve to 3-4, saving his season. And the NWA, dropping only their second game, falls to 5-2. So while I was super lucky for Lion Rip to score 113 points and come out with a win, here are all the guys who was on his bench: Stephon Diggs, James Robinson, Keenan Allen, and Kirk Cousins. Impressive stuff. How about another 1-point victory? Notorious CUP earning their 5th win on the season after edging out Bishop Sycamore by a single point, 143 to 142. Another matchup that came down to Monday night. Sycamore built up a lead thanks to 61 points by Matt Stafford. And of course, Derrick Henry, boy, he has been incredible this year. Miles' team had a 4-point lead heading into the final game of the weekend, and Quain's team had Alex Collins left to play. Collins bumbled his way to 4 points to help CUP escape with the win. And the final matchup, and the final matchup we'll talk about, of course, came down to the Monday night game. Hot Tamales, Belt Sanders going at it. Allen squad up, I believe, by 7 on Monday night with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett left to go. Mikey's team with Alvin Kamara and Marquez Callaway. And that night belonged to Kamara. Tamales' first-round pick busted out for a season-high 27 points, 10 receptions, 128 yards, and a touchdown. And Tamales go over 500 at 4-3. Mikey Renault, what was kind of your thoughts? DK Metcalf scored that early touchdown, but then Kamara just got loose.
Yeah, not much for Allen after that. Like, it was kind of like a suck to the gut there because it's like 7 points. And I remember telling you and Aaron, I was like, well, I felt like Kamara could outscore the both of them on his own, which he did end up doing. But when Metcalf had that, very first, whatever it was, 85-yard touchdown, I was like, oh boy, it's not looking good. But yeah, it was amazing. The game plan, they just kept feeding Kamara in the pass game and just kind of over and over and over again. And kind of worked out that way because Callaway didn't really do much. And I was glad to get this win, after starting 0-2. I've won 4 out of 5 and right back in the thick of things.
Right back into it. How about your matchup there, Todd? You want to say something about that? I mean, Kevin, his team is stacked.
Yeah.
He's doing a great job this year. At 130 points, tough to swallow and lose, but man, that's just unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, my team, Matt Ryan, 46, couldn't complain. And Jamar Chase, again, like I say it every single week. I'm going to win this board bet, and he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year because 8 receptions for 201 and a touchdown. Whoo! Now, granted, part of that came in with an 82-yard touchdown run there, but I thought I was like, oh, this is like again, this is the 3rd week in a row, or actually fourth week in a row, where I had this big lead, and no leads are obviously safe in fantasy, and again, just didn't work out, and it didn't help either that my first round draft pick, Aaron Jones, only 7 points. You can't play. I play the what if every time, but getting only 7 from him hurt, and my tight end Ingram 8 points. Hey, that's something. It's not mind blowing performance, but hey, that's probably the best performance I've got out of my tight end. So but obviously for that Giants team, most of all their weapons were all either hurt or not playing. So that obviously helped too. But yeah, 2-5. I'm not going to say I'm done yet. I'm just not going to say it yet because again, we've seen crazier things happen in this. So I'm just going to keep trucking along and do what I can. Obviously trying to maybe hopefully remember Kittle can come back, and probably the biggest one is if I can get Saquon. If Saquon can come back, that might be that. I don't want to say that would turn my season around, but that would help just tremendously if I can get Saquon back. So on to week 8 now.
Let's take a look at those standings to see how far back Todd is of the playoff race. Eaton W's, as we mentioned, by themselves, 6-1 in first place. They actually lead all owners with 1,031 points. Second place, Notorious CUP at 5-2. Surprising considering he's given up the most points in the league, a little over 1,000. The defending champs, NWA, in third place at 5-2. Lemonheads in fourth place. They are actually second in scoring this year. In fifth place is Cooper's Cousins coming off their win over the Lemonheads. Hot Tamales in sixth at 4-3, having won 2 in a row. Seventh, Gonzo Cats at 4-3. Bishop Sycamore in 8th at 3-4. Lion Rip in 9th at 3-4, but have 2 straight wins, figuring things out. And then the Butterfingers with Todd Squad at 2-5. Kilgore Trout and Belt Sanders both at 1-6. Trout in 11th due to they have a little more points than Allen Squad. But Mikey telling me the other day that those are the two teams that picked 1 and 2 this year. So go figure that. Not about the first 2 picks. It's about your entire draft, I guess. And just unfortunate. So Todd's talking about he's 2 and 5, and top 6 teams go, and Tamale's at 4 and 3 in 6th place, and Gonzo Cat's right there as well at 4 and 3. So a couple games back to Depp, probably not out of it quite yet, but he would definitely need to start winning soon. And he's got a tough matchup. We'll talk about that later. So guys, dough of the week. You guys have any candidates?
I really like that one that you said with Todd, not picking up Dearness Johnson. That's picking a defense over a running back. It's never a good idea.
Yeah.
It's definitely a candidate. However, I'm probably going to vote for myself this week, and here's why. So we've talked about how bad Mike Davis has been this year, and I still started him.
Mm-hmm.
Started him with the idea that he's playing one of the worst run defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And Atlanta's offense was good. They were clicking, and he still didn't get a lot of carries and still barely registered 1 single point. And here's the guys that could have started ahead of him. Michael Carter, 12 points. Devontae Booker, 13 points. How about the guy I picked up that morning, Khalif Raymond, who scored 11 points because he was in my flex position. 3 guys I could have played and would have won. So frustrating to see. I could even go further on guys I thought about. Alan Lazard, almost picked him up and threw him in there. And he had double figures. So it just kind of stinks in that regard. So we can vote. Is it Todd or is it Eric Lansing this week?
Oh, it's Eric Lansing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think I might have to wear this one loud and proud. So way to go, Eric. Way to go.
Go! Don't!
That's so frustrating.
Yeah. Hey, again. We talk about every single year. That we look at the matchups and we look at the stats and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, I always say, Eric, it's luck. It's luck. And you went with Mike Davis because obviously you looked at the matchup with Miami and thought, all right, they're going to put up a lot of points because Miami's defense isn't that great, and and especially the last few weeks, how that Falcons offense has been kind of clicking. Yeah, you go with it, but yeah, it's tough.
The definition of crazy is to continue to do the same thing, hoping for a better result. Time to stop starting Mike Davis.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's get into the top performances of the week. Mikey, we'll start with you. Who stood out to you in week 7?
Well, once again, I'm going to go back to that Cooper Kupp. Well, oh man, top receiver on the year, and again, the number 1 receiver on the week. 29 points from Cooper Kupp. Just another amazing game. 10 catches, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Notorious CUP needed all of those points in order to win this week over Bishop Sycamore.
He leads our league in terms of wide receiver points with 147. The next best player is Tyreek Hill at 112.
Where's Robert Woods? Where's Robert Woods on that list?
I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit because he's so far down.
Yeah.
Continuing to go.
God.
So he is at least in the top 25, 22, 21, 20th at 73 points.
So, yeah, and what's so crazy about this is that Kupp has 10 targets in every single game this year.
Wow. That's insane. Gosh, I wish I would have drafted him.
He'll go. I guarantee you this now. He'll probably be maybe top 3, maybe top 5 wide receiver drafted next year if he keeps on the way he's going. And maybe you have an argument, that he might be the first wide receiver taken, maybe over Devontae Adams. I don't know. I
don't know about that, but
that as I said, that's at least a discussion. But who knows? I mean, the way
we've seen
what's it?
similar streaks to start the season.
Uh-huh.
As I'm watching the Nuggets and Jazz get into a fight right now.
Oh, I guess I better change the
Um,
channel.
But you guys remember a couple years ago, like
Yeah.
Adam Thielen had a streak kind of to start the season like that, where
Oh,
like he
right.
scored a touchdown every game and had like 100 yards in like 8 straight games or something like that.
Yeah, they were
Mhm.
comparing him to Calvin Johnson early that season.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's remarkable, but I would say calm down on saying he's going to be like number one.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mikey. It's just more about the, everybody sees, oh wow, like look at what he's doing. He's putting up all these points. Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, we thought maybe for a few years we thought Antonio Brown was the best wide receiver. Now, obviously, he had other issues why he kind of fell off a little bit. But yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely a discussion.
So yes, Cooper Kupp's having a great season. Todd, give me a top performance of the week.
Well, I'll go with another one on notorious CUP team, AJ Brown. 20 points for him. Obviously that Titans offense has obviously been, it's been Derrick Henry and everybody else, but he had a good game, especially, against Kansas City. I mean, obviously Kansas City's defense, isn't exactly the top tier by any means, but, 8 receptions for 133 yards and 1 touchdown. It's pretty good. So him, he can keep going the way, kind of pick up a little bit too. Him and Cooper and match up with him and Cooper Kupp. That's going to be pretty good. So I'll go with AJ Brown.
Yeah, that's a formidable 1-2 punch from CUP's team. You talk about on the opposite end of things with Kilgore Trout and his wide receiver core this past weekend. We've talked about Mike Evans a little bit, who just went off for 3 TDs. I already mentioned Damian Harris. Both of those coming against yours truly. And, of course, Kamara was fantastic. I keep doubting Terry McLaurin. I feel like I crap on him more than everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
And he was quiet the previous 2 weeks, 11 points total, but he's had a 22-point week, 24-point week, 19-point week. Doesn't seem to matter if it's Taylor Henneke or the bearded one. His name escapes me for whatever reason, Ryan Fitzpatrick. But pretty decent week for Terry McLaurin. 7 catches, 122 yards, and a TD. So just another guy. And so, yeah, those are some pretty incredible performances taking place this week. Mikey, who just stunk up the place?
Well, before I tell you who stunk up the place, I want to throw just a name out there because I want to toot my own horn for a second.
Toot it. Oh, is this going to be the Morode?
Yeah, Foster Moreau. How about that guy?
I had him in my surprise section, but go ahead. Yeah.
I don't win this week without that young man. I'd gotten that Waller news about, an hour and a half before that kickoff and scrambling to find a tight end. And sometimes you have the luck of the Irish and stuff works out your way.
Yeah, that's impressive considering tight ends in general. Because I was in the same position you were at least in terms of another league, but I was looking earlier in the morning and running around trying to find people, and Foster Moreau never even popped into my thought process because usually you don't go for the backup tight end, you usually go for starters on other teams, and I failed miserably on that trying to go for OJ Howard, who didn't do anything. But no, that's a great move and great luck as well. So I'll throw that out there. 6 catches, 60 yards, and a TD. But, he was actually in my surprise of the week category because that was incredible. I was calling Mike. I have my notes here. Mikey is the tight end whisperer to have Darren Waller and then Dalton Schultz, and then he picks up another one. He's got something on the tight ends that we don't know about. What about a worse performer?
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
All right, so Todd kind of mentioned that Aaron Jones pooped the bed, and he really did. I'm beginning to wonder, Todd, because this is now 3 performances under 10 points for your first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Could he be hitting the trade block sometime soon, huh?
No, not good. Ride or
You mean
die. Ride or die. Ride or
You mean
die.
Todd trading Aaron Jones?
Yeah, no.
Or the Packers trading Aaron Jones? Because Todd will never trade him.
I will no. No. Ride or die. Ride or die. Because, like I said, just like that on draft day, that piece of paper, when I put Aaron Jones and Nick Chubb on that list,
You could offer him Dalvin Cook, and he would still like have to think about it long and hard
yep,
because he was that much in love with Aaron
I
Jones.
did not. He's a versatile running back, and the thing is, Mike. He's right. He's had some last 2 weeks have been some pretty performances, but he's still versatile and he's still attached to Aaron Rodgers. It's hashtag steal hashtag free Aaron Jones. And Thursday night when we get toward the end of the podcast about the matchups and the fact of how many wide receivers and weapons are out, Aaron Rodgers is going to feed the ball to Aaron Jones. I promise you that.
All right. Todd, do you have a worst performance of the week?
I'm going to go with Henry Ruggs. Only 5 points. Again, that Raiders, because the Raiders offense.
Henry Ruggs. I feel like you've named him worst performance of the week before. Is that true?
What would you expect out of Henry Ruggs? That's
my problem. Is like, why are we expecting such high aspirations for Henry Ruggs? He's a second wide receiver on a team that, on a guy that just doesn't do that much, and he's unreliable. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just more about the fact that the Raiders have been, been winning the last few weeks, and I think just so many there was a lot of expectations for Henry Ruggs, coming in the season, because obviously they didn't think they were using him properly. But I mean, obviously Raiders fan, so obviously he's ride or die with his Raiders. So, but I think that's just another bad performance.
So he's 38th in terms of scoring this season. He has 2 weeks where he has double digits. Yes, he's stunk it up, and he does get used, but yeah, definitely not having a good season. But I mean, I just think it's funny that 1 week we're talking about Tyler Lockett as the top performer of the week, and then the next week one of the worst performers, just 2 points on 2 receptions. Yes, they're dealing with a backup quarterback, but a guy who's more known for his possession type receiving. And they have a backup quarterback that's probably utilize him a little bit more. Maybe they'd have better success, but always interested to see that. I don't want to harp too much on Jimmy Garoppolo with 23 points. I mean, Carson Wentz did go for 41 in that same game, the monsoon game. But 23 points seems pretty crappy and definitely did not help G, who had to run with him this week. And again with G, I don't want to keep harping on him, but to have the Baltimore defense give up 41 points to the Bengals, I think it was in Baltimore too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, geez Louise, like, what do you got to do as a defense? I mean, there was a lot of fantasy talk through the week. Like, should you start Burrow? Should you start those wide receivers? And I don't know, Baltimore's not what they used to be, but they're still a good defense. And then to just get lambasted, however you say it, it was quite interesting. We'll talk about. I think it's all. And do anybody have any other worst performances they want to talk about?
Oh yeah, because I got to lay into one dude.
All
like
right.
Last year when we had this segment, this was all about shit on T.Y. Hilton every single week, calling it like the T.Y. Hilton Award.
Correct.
Allen Robinson is starting to be this year's version of that. Because he is just all year long has been taking a dump on Kilgore Trout's fantasy team. It's just a big giant diarrhea all over his season.
Wow,
it got worse. He only had 2 points this week. I mean, he has just been awful. The most disappointing player, I feel, all season long.
Yeah, he's 58th in terms of wide receiver scoring. And has not registered. The closest he's come to double digits was in week 2 when he had 2 receptions and he had one of those was a touchdown, but 3, 6, 5, 6, and 2. And I don't know how much and we talked about this before. I don't know how much it's him. I don't know how much it's that Bears offense. I don't know how much it's Justin Fields, because Fields was just awful last week and could not find he found the opposing team. He found Tampa Bay quite a bit, but he did not find his own team very well. Yeah, he is, for someone who has him in a different league, it has been quite the frustrating. And I haven't started him, I think, in the last couple weeks. You just can't rely on him. And in all honesty, I tried to trade for Allen Robinson last week, thinking, okay, time to buy him low. And now I'm kind of, it didn't go through. The talks kind of stopped, and then maybe got lucky, not having to give up some parts to get him. It has been quite atrocious from Allen Robinson, who, man, oh man, has been a top 10 wide receiver the last couple of years, and with bad quarterbacks. But maybe it's at an all new low here for that guy. Anybody else?
No, I was gonna Allen Robinson too, but
Yeah,
that's
Mike Davis.
Yeah,
continues to be just terrible and cost me a week. And goodness gracious. Any other surprises? We mentioned Foster Moreau. Did you guys have any other surprises of the week?
I mean, definitely. I thought that Tua was. I mean, I like Tua, but I didn't think he was going to be the number one quarterback on the week. I mean, Atlanta is a pretty decent matchup, but I mean, dude, 4 touchdowns was a career high. He's got all this speculation about Deshaun Watson. He kind of ignored it and probably had the best game of his career.
Yeah, it was fun to watch, to say the least, because it was a lot of dip and dunk stuff. 32 completions. He was just dipping and dunking, rarely went deep. And man, oh man, Mike Gesicki starting to pop out of his quiet first couple of weeks and starting to be that tight end that can make a difference for squads out there. We kind of talked about him, but the other one I had, other than Moreau, was Dearness Johnson. Geez, steps right into the starting back role and puts up those 23 points. That's pretty impressive. I mean, that just goes to show how great that Cleveland Browns offensive line is. But to put up those numbers, and I know we were giving Todd a lot of crap about it, but all that speculation about who was going to be the starting running back. There was another gentleman as well they were talking about that was going to get some carries. What's that?
Yeah, and I picked him up. Oh,
that's even worse.
Demetric
Felton.
Felton.
Yeah. So it didn't seem like it was clear cut anyway. But man, when you're good, you're good, and eating W's off to a fantastic start.
Man, how good is he, or is it just that the Broncos defense is that soft?
It's got to be a combination.
Don't get Todd started on Broncos.
Yeah,
we don't have enough time left in the show.
I know. I'm not. It's just kind of sad. Just running backs they torch us. He torched us for 146 yards. Okay, keep going. I'm going to stop talking.
Oh man. All right. Well, let's take a look at next week's schedule. First place, Eaton W, 6-1, taking on 4-3 Gonzo Cats. Second place, Notorious CUP, taking on 5th place, Cooper's Cousins, and they are 4-3. 4-3 Hot Tamales, taking on 3-4 Bishop Sycamore. 5-2 NWA could really put a hurting on Todd this week, who is 2-5. Lemonheads, who's at 4-3, gets 1-6 Kilgore Trout, and Lion Rip will put his 3-4 record up against 1-6 Belt Sanders. So big time week coming up here in week 8. And here are the buys in week 8, Ravens and Raiders. So you go from buy craziness last week to just 2 teams this week. So no Lamar Jackson, no Hollywood Brown, no Mark Andrews, no Darren Waller, no Josh Jacobs. So there you have it. That's what happened in week 7. What else you guys got? Is this crazy? There's a lot of close games. I thought there'd be more Doe Award candidates, but no, it was pretty much just me.
Well, there was so many buys that it's hard to have Doe candidates.
Yeah,
I saw some teams that had and I was one of them, but a lot of teams had like 5-6 guys on buys. It was just so crazy.
Yeah,
Buy Mania. Yeah, it was.
They were calling it Buy-mageddon.
Buy-mageddon. Yeah, I heard that a couple times on Sunday as well. So there you have it. Week 8 coming up quick here. Todd, you got to turn things around, my man. 2-5.
I know. And again, if Saquon Barkley can just come back, that will be huge. And the thing too is, I know we don't talk about our waivers, but this isn't a player. The fact just going to try to go pick up, Cincinnati's defense because they're playing the Jets. And guess who just has the number one? And guess which team has the number one waiver claim for that? If G is smart.
Is it smart though? Didn't we just talk about why you shouldn't be using top waivers on defenses?
Well, his defense is Baltimore, and that's on a bye. So why not go for the better? I mean, the Jets are on their second quarterback. Zach Wilson's hurt. I mean, obviously Zach Wilson wasn't putting up big numbers anyway, but I wasn't doing that much anyway. But I mean, be smart, wouldn't it? I mean, that's the better matchup. But yeah, you're right. I mean, don't pick over a defense, but I mean, looking over his team, I mean, he has Josh Allen back. It's going to be in the Bills are playing Miami, so Matt Ryan's going to have to. I might have to. I pray he puts up like 60 or 70 because Josh Allen might go for 80 at this point. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, I mean, Todd, your matchup is the most interesting one for me of the week because there's so much wash points involved in this matchup. So, I mean, your game is totally going to be decided by how Matt Ryan does and who his touchdowns go to.
They better all go to Calvin Ridley, every single one of them.
That has not happened very often this year.
I know. Calvin Ridley got a touchdown last week. I was like, okay, cool. He's back. But yes, if Matt Ryan has to score 5 touchdowns to kind of maybe match Josh Allen, all 5 better go to Calvin Ridley. I do not care.
You better hope so, because if it's 2 to Patterson and 3 to Pitts, you're cooked.
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, we'll put it this way. You know what? Some touchdown passes to Mike Davis. How about that? There you go, Eric.
Oh, I'm not starting Mike Davis. I gotta get back in the winning track. He is not the guy.
He's not. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the guy I'm going to rely and put my hat on this week, unless I have just major injuries going on. But how about, what are you thinking about your matchup, Miguel, as you take on Bishop Sycamore? I mean, it's just obviously they have the prediction of points that you're going to score, and they have you with a league high 156.
Well, I mean, I honestly think that Miles is better than his record. He's 3-4, but he's kind of had some tough luck losses where, I mean, he's one of the higher scoring teams in the league.
Yeah.
And so anytime that you have to deal with Derrick Henry, like it's a scary, scary thought. And then he's got Stafford playing against, Houston. I mean, it's he's got some decent matchups. DJ Moore, is playing against the crappy Falcons. It's not going to be easy for me. And I've never hit these projections once. I'm usually anywhere from like 145 to 155, somewhere in that range. I'm going to need it for sure.
Yeah. That should be an interesting one. Kyler Murray taking on Green Bay. That's going to be an interesting game for Thursday. Talk about that.
I like that though, because Kyler Murray, in a way, he's big time, like real NFL MVP candidate, but he's underperformed a little bit in fantasy, only in the fact that in like these last 2 games, they've been up by so many points. He hasn't even played in the fourth quarter. So like I'm losing out on like extra points that I could be getting. So I'm excited in the fact that this game could hopefully be more competitive. I get a full 4 quarters out of him and boost my score.
Yep. We'll see how that Arizona game goes. Taking on Kilgore Trout is going to have Aaron Rodgers in that one. He'll have Justin Jefferson back, who was on a bye. He'll have Dalvin Cook back. And, of course, they're taking on Dallas. So, with me and getting Dak back this week, you hope it's you wish for high scoring, but then high scoring just means Cook and Shepard are just going to get a ton of points. But then you see the rest of the squad and Sterling Shepard and Zach Moss, although Christian Kirk's been coming on of late. I don't think it's going to be easy, but we'll just kind of see how it kind of plays out here. I'm just so glad Patrick Mahomes is not injured for a few weeks, because I still need to rely on Darrell Williams. And of course, Kelsey, my first round pick, just 10 points last week, which was good, at least decent considering what happened in that game. But yeah, there's week 8 coming up around the corner. Any last words before we sign out of here, guys?
Nope.
That's right. Don't mention the Broncos. I don't want to hear about the Broncos.
I know. I don't want to either because it's too depressing to talk about.
And they got Washington. They got that Washington defense that's just gonna light into him this week, into whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah. Well,
It's
they
not gonna be pretty.
you know what? They better get this win because Peyton's getting inducted into the Ring of Fame, so they better win it for Peyton. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, it didn't matter 2 weeks ago when Shanahan was being inducted. They let the
Well,
Raiders
that's
eat their lunch.
Yeah, well, maybe it's different with Peyton. I don't know. Maybe Peyton will go talk to him or something like that.
Oh man. All right, gentlemen. Well, thanks for coming on here on this Tuesday night. We'll try to get this out here tomorrow. Go Braves, and I would say go Broncos, but why waste the breath? All right, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on the show. Eric Lansing, along with Todd Diamond and Mikey Renault. We'll see you next time on the MHA podcast.